Let's get into another 5-month postpartum workout. If you're new here, my name is Jamila Medley. I'm a pelvic floor occupational therapist, pre and postnatal exercise specialist, a diastasis recti expert. I'm also a mom of 3, a pastor's wife, and I love sharing all the information and the things that I'm doing in my day-to-day with all of you.
Today was the first day that I added in some ankle and wrist weights to my workouts. I just do 1 or 2 pound ankle weights, and I also use them as wrist weights. I'll link them in the description. With low impact exercise, it is always important to make sure that you're appropriately progressing with the kind of weight or load that you're putting on your body. As always, we start with diaphragmatic breathing. I decided to start standing up because most of the workout today was going to be in standing position. So really wanted to focus on being able to engage all layers of my core while standing before getting into the workouts. A lot of single leg isolation today, starting out with those hip flexors and outer glutes, while also focusing on my diaphragmatic breathing, engaging all layers of my core, and focusing on my inner thighs as well. The focus too here is also on my upper body. So while I don't have weights on my upper body, I am still intentional about my posture and positioning, because this can essentially be a full body workout. And even though the focus is on my legs, I want to make sure that I'm not compromising, because then I'm not going to get the most out of my workout. Of course, we are focused on our breath. Every exhale, I'm focused on engaging all layers of my deep core even more. And I love this little side body reach to get into the obliques a little bit more and to challenge my core. I will also say that my glutes at this point were on fire. It is very important to make sure that you do still have a soft bend in the knee when you're standing and doing these exercises. Making a little bit of a pivot to this kickback position. When you change positions, sometimes it's a little bit more challenging to keep all layers of the deep core engaged. So this is why I always emphasize taking it slow so you can really focus on your breath and your form first. Once I felt like I got good control, I was able to do that kickback even stronger and really feel it into my glutes. From the kickback, I decided to do some tiny circles, so really hitting all layers of those glute muscles, especially that underbutt area. My glutes were on fire for a good 2 to 3 days after this. I had to be so intentional about stretching because those glutes were literally on fire for days. Swapping over to the other side, I always make sure I have a soft bend in that standing leg. So you can't really see it from this angle, but I do have a soft bend in the standing leg. You want to make sure that you're not locking out your knee. For me, this side is a little bit easier to balance. I feel like there's always one side that may be a little bit more difficult. So if you have difficulty, you can always hold on to something. But today I really wanted to challenge myself a little bit more and try not to hold on to something if I didn't have to. I try to do each workout for about 3 sets and between 10 to 12 reps. And because we're doing isolated sides, so we're doing the left and the right side, I tried to do 3 sets on each side, if the time permits. Single leg isolation is really important, especially if you do want to get back to doing high impact exercise postpartum. And honestly, having stability to be able to do single leg movements is extremely functional and can give you so much more stability in your day-to-day life, especially if you are picking up kids or navigating, carrying different things at the same time. Okay, this exercise right here was definitely the one that got me. I love this dynamic low impact movement because we are still targeting all layers of the glutes here, but now we are challenging the core even more. And I love the fact that there's a huge challenge here to not do too much shifting and compensating in the pelvis and the back. So the goal is not to be shifting and really tilting your hips all the way over, more so to be stabilized in that standing leg. Use your core, use your breath to bring that leg around. Remember, when we do glute work, it's not just the upper or the lower or the side glutes. Literally, our glutes are a full muscle that works together. So those 3 muscles in the glutes should also be worked together during your workouts. And your glutes are also connected to those pelvic floor muscles, which is why we want to be working those in combination with your diaphragmatic breath to get into the pelvic floor. Now, after all that glute work, we did do some upper body work with those light wrist weights, starting off strong with picking up Caleb before getting into the workout. If you have ever done upper body work with light weights in this kind of low impact way, you know that it literally burns those arms out. And a lot of times you can see more of that toning that you desire in the arms and the back when you are using light weights, making it a full body movement and increasing the reps with those light weights. While isolating just upper body is great, I always like to incorporate upper body and lower body together. So if I'm ever doing light weights, I'm typically also incorporating the lower body in some capacity. Again, because my goal in exercise is always functional movement and to have the function to be able to balance and do things that I want to be able to do. If you haven't been able to tell already, I have spent so much time really making sure that I have the foundational skills of connecting to my pelvic floor and my core before progressing to exercises like this postpartum. I did this each postpartum by going through my 14-week Postpartum Movement Academy. So I did not start here, but I really started with those foundational skills that I teach throughout that course. And then I've been able to gradually progress to this by 5 months postpartum. For long-term function and stability, it's so important to have a gradual but safe progression and to not just be jumping back into things postpartum just because it's something you want to do. You'll see so much more results and achieve success if you take that slow progression. And honestly, this third postpartum, I'm progressing so much quicker than I normally do, which is so great. And I think is a huge testament to the work that I put in during pregnancy and also in early postpartum. We did so many workouts today and focused on upper body and lower body workouts. So I spent a good 10 minutes making sure that I was stretching and releasing all the muscles that we just worked. I know as moms, sometimes it's hard and we only have a limited amount of time to do our workouts, but the stretching and that lengthening component is also extremely important to make sure that you also have function, because tension and tightness is not great for the pelvic floor. It can put a lot of strain on your back and create some back tension, low back discomfort and pain and aches, and we just want to avoid all of that. We also go through some really great postpartum stretches in the Postpartum Movement Academy. I typically am just going through and doing those and listening to my body and giving my body what it needs. You can even incorporate stretches and lengthening throughout the day, just as you can incorporate your diaphragmatic breathing and connecting to your pelvic floor and your core throughout your days as well. Even as a practitioner in this space and someone who is specialized in this space, as a mom of 3, I still have to remind myself that it does not have to be an all or nothing situation. Even if I can just get in 10 to 15 minutes, that is still better than nothing. So if you can only get in a few minutes of a nice little stretch after your workout, that is better than not doing anything at all. I felt so much more energy after this and was able to just power through the rest of my day with the work that I had to do and being a mom of 3. And honestly, I really attribute it to how much I have been pouring into myself when it comes to exercise and appropriate movement. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and come back again soon.